Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the MSR Automobilista 2 GT1 2005 Championship round number 2. We head to the fatherland of Germany for Hockenheim, a very, very wet Hockenheim. As you can see in the background of the shot there, along with the current championship standings, we had round 1 at King-Kodiak in Brazil. Last time out, of which Gilles Homan took the victory. And Gilles is not with us tonight, but we do have 16 drivers ready to take to the track. Let me just then get the picture a bit more cleared up. There we go. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be one of your commentators throughout tonight's festivities. Qualifying has just gotten underway. Joining me in the commentary box once again and in control of the cameras is Martin. Welcome back, Martin. It's going to be interesting tonight.
Greetings, and I think you are most certainly correct, as about half the field now going into the hairpin. We'll see if there's any early qualifying casualties there.
Certainly will. Now, I did try all of the GT1 cars in these conditions at this track. Again, bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, whilst I just get my windows back straight. Like I said, I don't have a stream deck, so the stream will pause whilst I sort windows out. Oh, we've lost one already, unfortunately. I thought we were about having a... We have had a brief, I say mass disconnect. About 3 or 4 drivers did drop towards the end of the practice session that preceded our quali session tonight, so hopefully things remain as they are. Good evening, Galax Star Fox, good to see you, good sir. A regular of my videos, good to see you along for the ride. So then, GT1s at Hockenheim. We are currently looking at a reskinned Fennec in the sandy coloured Dodge Viper.
I just spotted the Lego on the rear wing as well.
I just spotted that as well. Lego on the rear wing, Pokemon on the car as well. That's not so easy to see. It's just behind the driver's door. There's the anime flavoured Aston of JD. Chasing.
They might be giving each other some slipstream tonight.
I'm not sure that's really going to help because you're giving yourself a big old face full of spray whilst you're at it. But riding on board with JD, and then we'll ride aloud. We just go through Nordkurve, turn 1, and then we scream up to a very wet braking zone. Around about 150 meters, you're on the brakes. And remember, there's no ABS, there's no traction control with these cars. The Einfahrt Parabolica turns 2, and then turn 3, then the long turn 4 of Parabolica, spelled with a K. And you're just so blind, absolutely blind. You're just hugging the inside line because that's all you can see. Then
track knowledge most certainly helps you tonight.
Oh, certainly true. Into the hairpin or the Spitzkauer. Now you saw JD there kick the tail out. That's the only way round the hairpin. Otherwise, you're there for about a week trying to manoeuvre around. Then it's into turn 6, not named, along with here turn 7. And it's very delicately down to about second gear. Oh dear, that's
Fennec.
That was off. Fennec indeed off in the sandy coloured Dodge. Turn 8, and then we are back into the old stadium and returning to us. Oh, it's Kaiser that dropped momentarily. Mammoth is.
Eddie was there off track as well.
Oh, Mammoth is with us. I thought Mammoth was. Oh no, it's Warlord that's replaced. I keep thinking it's Mammoth. I got in my head that Mammoth has been reserved for tonight. It's not. It's Warlord that's been replaced for tonight by Arid. Good to see Arid joining us again. Then it is through the Sachs curve, turn 10, and 11, 12, and 13. Just you've got to tiptoe around, be very, very patient. Then it's Sud curve, turn 14.
Well, the understeer is insane.
Yeah. Understeer and oversteer all bundled up together. Wow, Cuckoo straight into the 149s. There's a 154 from JD. We tended to see it between 48 and 54 or so during practice. Now, it happens to be that's the car I had the least amount of difficulty with. To say I had success with it is a bit of a stretch, but it was the Corvette that I found the most controllable in these conditions.
Yeah, and I think we'll be seeing even better lap times from it and some of its opponents, as well as we did end up seeing some drivers, I think about 2 of them, get into the 147s in free practice. 10 minutes left to go now. Most drivers still in the high 50s. A couple people still not under 2 minutes yet, but that's just because they haven't set a representative time.
Oh, just hanging on to that one is Cuckoo as he's come through turn 7, now into turn 8. Third gear corner in these conditions. Let the car wander over to the left-hand side. Line up for Medialine's curve.
It just looks like you're going straight for the wall from that shot.
From that camera angle, it does. The apex is slightly blind there, so it's difficult to time right. It's down to second gear for Sachs curve, slightly banked, but still, there's so little traction out there. The tail just wants to get away. Hello, Escher, good to see you. I hope you're recovering well. So we're not seeing you trackside. Oh, a bit of a wiggle there from Cuckoo coming through. Sud curve, turn 14. Is there an improvement on the time? 1:49.7, his previous time. Not on this occasion. Close, but not quite.
Yeah, and I can almost guarantee that those 2 laps weren't necessarily the most similar to each other. So to end up with just less than a tenth's worth of difference is quite something. But so far, Cuckoo still leading the pack. Ricky now in third. Andrew currently overperforming in fourth, not in his usual P8 merchant mode. But yes, a lot of drivers still yet to set a lap. I think Mats has had to restart the game, so he'll be rejoining us shortly.
Okie dokie. As Kaiser has jumped up into second with a 50.0. Bernd is into third with a 50.3. As we see Ultimate Kaiser now in the lemon-flavoured Aston Martin.
Kaiser very much the man to beat in practice earlier. We'll see if his teammate's able to match him once again.
Indeed. So third last time out with 22 points on the board is Kaiser. So obviously Gillis is not with us tonight. He did say when we spoke to him last week that he wouldn't be here for this race.
As for the championship effects that will have, there is one drop round that each driver gets where they get to drop their worst result of the season. And well, I mean, if you don't show up, that's definitely going to count as your worst round. So it's technically not a loss as long as you can attend all the other races.
Oh, yellow flag, not so. Well, it was almost a preemptive yellow flag then. As Kaiser has parked it on the runoff area at turn 7 as we now look at Bernd, our new pole sitter.
Missing a headlight though.
Yes, now I suspect we will see quite a few reshaped cars in the course of the night. And Bernd has had an argument with something a bit more solid than his Maserati as he is chasing, that's trouble, in the green Lotus-esque Dodge. And this is what
dodge that car as he's going through a very slow part of the track now. Oh, he's out to abort the lap, I believe. Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming the old visual bug is if a car is damaged and then repaired, we still see the physical damage. I'm assuming that bug still exists. Yeah.
It most certainly does.
So this car could actually be absolutely fine, but he has at some point headbutted the wall.
Ooh, and at some point, Cuckoo has almost equaled that provisional pole now, less than a tenth away.
Very nicely done, a 49.531, a 600th of a second shy, as Matt has now returned to us. Everyone has at least one time on the board so far. Arid, who is standing in for Warlord this week, 150.7, as we are now right on board with Xevious, 51.077. Bernd returns to the pits. So Xevious in 7th, can't quite see it. I think that's one of the JPS flavoured Maseratis he's chasing. It's Arid. It's Arid he's chasing. I'm just looking at the map.
Speaking of all these different cars as well, as you can see, Xevious slowing down, getting some clean air for his upcoming lap. One car you won't be seeing on the grid tonight is the Lamborghini, our resident Lambo driver, not able to make it tonight, unfortunately, so we'll have to wait and see if they'll have any successes next week. But still a pretty sizable gap up front. Keza more than half a second away from provisional pole with just 5 minutes left to go. Matt's teammate yet to set a lap, so a lot riding on these last few minutes for some of the most competitive guys on this grid.
Absolutely true. Ricky has parked it in the pits for the time being. As we now jump to our pole sitter, Bernd, with a face full of spray from somebody. I think that's one of the Star Wars Astons, is it?
I believe so, and that should be number 5 Mammoth going down into the hairpin. Very nice camera there for a change.
Let's hope for better luck for Mammoth. He was having that wonderful battle with Kaiser last time out in Yukari Pagwa until we found him in the wall, unable to move.
Hopefully all his software updated before the race this time.
Oh, that was it. Yes, I was trying to remember what the problem was. His wheel software updated mid-race. That was it. Matt's.
Well, Matt's now going through the final 2 corners. Is he about to set a lap or about to start one?
Let's have a look. Oh, big snap as he came through Suit Curve. But that will neither help the lap or help the one he's about to... Looks like he's about to start one, or if it was a time lap, it was invalidated somewhere. Hop over the curb at turn 1. Don't wander too wide on the exit of Nordkurve. And then it is Einfahrt Parabolica to turn 2. Again, feels so clumsy. You're down to such, near walking pace compared to what these cars are built for. And just kiss the apex at turn 3 and the long left-hander of turn 4. We do have the strange visual bug where it looks like they're driving one-handed. Most of them, but not all of them, are doing that for some strange reason. Braking around 150 meters down through the gearbox, and then there's the burst of horses to kick the tail around out of the hairpin.
Yeah, turn left to go straight there, but it did seem like you got the power down quite well, so I think this should be a half-decent lap if you can keep it on the track through sectors 2 and 3.
Down through the gearbox once again for turn 7. Oh, again, couldn't get the tail to kick out on that occasion.
Teammate update, Keza now only 3/10 away from provisional pole.
Up into third, 149.8, exactly that. Oh, using every pixel of space available is Matt. Oh, flirts with the gravel on the outside of the Mobiline's curve. Now Sachs curve, turn 10. He banked left-hander, and it is through the twisties.
Smooth.
It certainly looked it, but the exit was a bit shaky. 11, 12, and 13. Again, you're not really getting anything above 4th gear through there. They boots the tail, gets the traction, whatever traction you can find, sprints for the line. As 3rd with a 49.6, the pole still belonging to the Maserati of Bernd.
Oh, wow, but yeah, with only a couple of laps on the books, has already overtaken his teammate, so Keza will be looking to perhaps get a 1-2 if they're both able to set another lap or 2, because they are very much within touching distance of Bernd and Kaku now. So I think this is definitely, if Kaku ends up starting the race before them, it's going to be a very, very interesting race, because I know Kaku's defensive driving is pretty much ironclad, provided no mistakes are made in the rain. And with the spray behind these cars, it's not going to be easy to get overtakes done.
Now, the rain is due to be consistent throughout the race. I mean, it might lighten a bit. It may get heavier to a point, but that is that's the nature of the beast. It is due to rain all race long, so we won't be getting a wet to dry race going on. Look at this. JD just cannot see anything forward as he stares at the back of the Falcon-esque flavoured Corvette.
Of the formless cloud in front of him.
Oh, Eddie with a new fastest lap, a 48.9. Our first driver
look at that gap.
Into the 48s. So either the rain has eased a little bit and there's a bit more traction to be found, or Eddie has just strung it together perfectly well. So we are looking.
And considering that that's the first lap into the 48s as well. I mean, we saw 47s in practice. I am thinking that that session was in fact getting faster towards the end, because we're nowhere near a 47 at this point.
No, indeed. We did. I did spot something somewhat fetching on. Oh, good catch there from Bullet San, who is the Corvette ahead of us. Did spot something quite honourable on the livery of Bullet San. If we ride in cockpit with Bullet San for a moment, he's put my YouTube link in there. That is very kind of you. Thank you very much for that, Bullet San.
Definitely not an incentive to get free screen time.
I not at all. Not at all. You're.
It's nice to see a homage of Definitely not paid sponsorship.
Oh, big snap there from Bullet Sand as he nearly wipes out the Anime Aston behind him.
I think we should stop mentioning your channel on the car in that corner, because both times we've done that, he's fallen off the
Well, it was an improvement for Bullet Sand, a 53.9 on the board. Oh, you know what I was saying about my pit marker appearing mid-track? We just had it in that shot very, very briefly. But ironically, in practice, when I mentioned that to Martin, we couldn't find it. We drove past it, just saw it in that particular shot. It's just over the pit wall, but qualifying is now done. So
we have a lot of last-second improvements. Keza now in 3rd place, Burned only 4th, Fennec in 5th. Now Matt's down to 6th place in the pits. He will once again not be starting from the first 2 rows of the grid.
And and that's a spin there for Mammoth. So he will not be improving. He will start no higher than 7th. Fennec in the sandy-coloured Dodge is chasing the white Corvette of that. We're running on board with Fennec. I've forgotten who the white Corvette is.
That is Jedlin.
Jedlin. So as they are coming through Mobiline's curve, turn 9. Oh, that's too much. Yeah. It's such a fine balance between just getting the right amount of slip and it letting go. These cars are not easy to drive at the best of times, let alone in conditions like these.
I mean, it really let go quite early as well, so I don't think you had a whole lot of chance of holding on to it once it did go, so that's quite unfortunate for Fennec. But starting the race ahead of Matt is absolutely something to write home about, so he has good hopes for this race. Again, for those at the back as well, points do go down quite far, so I think everyone who does finish the race will end up scoring a fine haul of points tonight.
So then, it is Eddie in the Maserati alongside Cuckoo in the Corvette for the front row. Kaiser and Bant, Aston Martin and Maserati on row 2. Fennec and Matt on row 3, Aston Martin and Dodge. Andrew and Mammoth. Oh, Andrew was nearly in his customary position, but one position up this time in 7th, with Mammoth in 8th. I can't see the talent, so one thing I am going to quickly do is just make a quick note of what those qualifying positions were, because I can never remember.
Good call.
Right.
Tower's back, by the way.
Thanking you. I will be back momentarily. Again, professionalism plus.
Although for some reason it's focused on a different car on your screen at the moment. That is quite interesting. I have it put on Jedlin and your screen's showing Mammoth.
It showed Mammoth because it was frozen because I wasn't in game.
Yep.
So
yep. I just realized that when I saw the rain was not moving anymore.
Hello, Sin. Good to see you in chat. Thank you for joining us. Where were we? So 7 was Andrew and 8 was Mammoth. 9th is Jedlin and 10th is Ared, who is standing in for Warlord on this race. So he is in the JPS flavoured Maserati. Ricky in the anime flavoured Aston is alongside Xevious on row 6. 7 is Condor in the red Maserati alongside Trouble in the green Dodge. And then rounding out row 8 is JD in the second of the Anime Astons and Bullet Sand in the Falcon flavoured Corvette. Now, I said earlier that I turned a few laps. I did try these cars out. I tried all of them out in these conditions. It was actually the Corvette I had the most amount of success with. And had I have qualified the same, if I got the same time as I got in my few time laps, I would have qualified around about 14th. So 151.4 was what I managed to do. So I will take that considering these conditions.
Absolutely, and I mean you did mention which assists that these cars are lacking, which pretty much all of them, and especially not having ABS, very, very painful in these cars as we get the formation lap underway. Rolling start as per usual, so everyone's tires will be extra cold by the time we get to the line.
32 laps then await us here in Hockenheim. First one being a rolling start, so 1 lap at safety car speeds led by Eddie. And once we get to, it's around about, if I get my map up properly, it is around about the Mobile 1 curve, turn 9, I believe is where they form up. So
Meanwhile, not one person in the crowd grabbing their umbrella. Absolute troopers in the stands today.
hardened German fans. So then, coming through Einfahrt Parabolica, which is turn 2. Feels so clumsy in these cars, but you've got to take it careful. Then turn 3, on to the long turn 4, and the further back you are, the worse this spray is going to get. Bullet Sand is totally blind.
So that's actually an interesting thing. I just saw a helicopter in the background, but they're not giving us a helicopter camera.
No, they don't.
Maybe that's upcoming DLC. Who knows?
That would be something. So they're now down,
getting the slowest part of the track.
indeed, to the hairpin. Now, on the first lap, this is going to be utter chaos. We had 2 safety cars last week, and I suspect we might have at least one. I would imagine we're going to have some reshaping cars, because if you lock up, you're spinning. If you overdo your braking point, you're almost certainly going to spin as you panic and hit the brakes a bit harder.
Exactly, because that corner has everything that makes this track dangerous in these conditions. It has that extra long braking zone, which a lot of people struggling on the brakes here, and then that very, very important traction zone just after as well. So you could see people fly out of the corner on entry and just spin around on exit as well.
Also true. Now, one other thing I noticed, this could be down to default setups. Bearing in mind, I only run defaults. When I'm doing whatever sim racing shenanigans I do, I always run default setups, as they have now formed the 2x2 line. You could probably tune it out by setups, but I did notice the Maserati took the longest to slow down. It seemed to take more effort to slow the Maserati down than the rest, but as our pole sitter is in a Maserati, that is likely a setup issue or a skill issue. Both are likely. Round the final turn and through Suit Curve comes our field. Wait for it. Cuckoo's going to drop the hammer, and we are racing here in Germany. So gives Cuckoo a big old face of spray. Kaiser gets the inside line, doesn't, not quite on Cuckoo. So have we survived turn 1? It looks like we have. Everybody has made it through. Let's go. Look at that! Oh. Everyone's got their headlights on for very, very good reason. That's not so we can see them. That's so the other drivers can see them. There's a fair amount of bumping going on. Andrew's lost a couple of positions. I think he was just very, very cautious coming through turn 2. But
I mean, you say that, but I saw some people very, very much pushing the brakes already in turn 2, so that does not bode well for the hairpin.
Well, here we go. Riding on board with Andrew in the Viper. He's trying to find some space to give him some visibility. As we see, that's Kaiser a few cars ahead of us. Ah, my goodness me. No, it's not Matt, sorry, a few cars ahead. It does look like, though, everyone, I mean, there's a fair amount of door-to-door pumping going on, but everybody has survived.
Absolutely. So, worst case scenario has been averted. No safety cars called on lap 1 as of yet. Meanwhile, the top 2, Eddie and Cuckoo, pulling away from Keza at the moment. Let's take a quick look at that gap. Nothing much yet, so Keza still very much in this fight. I think Fennec will be holding up Mammoth when he does start his charge, because we've seen Mammoth just having tremendous pace in this car in the first event. You can see understeer as well for those ahead.
Whoops, Matt's wandering a bit wide in the second of the lemon-coloured Aston Martins. As we now look at Trouble, who's fending off the advances of Condor. They are very much fighting for, I was going to say fighting for wooden spoon avoidance, but at the moment they're just kind of fighting. They're fighting for survival mainly.
Absolutely.
This track will not dry, well, won't dry up to a massive degree with just the running. Oh, is that a look for Bullets? And he's got off the back row. Bear in mind, he started 16th. He's looking to challenge JD side by side coming over the line. And is that going to be a position? It is. The Falcon-coloured Corvette up into 13th now. Oh, is he going to be attacked back by JD? Very cautious exit for Bullets, and JD's got the position. Here comes Trouble as well to try and relieve 15th from the Corvette.
Yeah, and I don't think this fight is anywhere close to over yet, but we're going to take a quick look up and down the grid. Meanwhile, the leader now almost a second ahead of Cuckoo. So Eddie started this race in first. Looks like he may well have the pace to start pulling a gap. Cuckoo, I think the best person to have behind you in that case. Keza. Oh, and just behind Fennec, he's not spun, but he's definitely messed up his exit. Will Mammoth be able to profit off of that?
I think Mammoth had to take quite a sharp angle there to avoid skewing into the side of the sandy-coloured Dodge of Fennec. So he couldn't gain particularly from it. Matt's right behind. There's Ared, our reserve driver in the JPS-coloured Maserati. Condor still right in there. He's on the tail of Bulletsan, who in turn is on the back of Trouble.
Yeah, Trouble just went off track there. That's cost him a bit of time. Maybe dirtied his tires a bit as well.
Oh,
on the offensive. He's gone down the inside.
That's brave. That's brave. That's quite a tight turn. But manages to get the number 2 Maserati turned in and slowed down. Nicely done. Up into Sachs curve then for Condor. Up into 14th. I spotted that in chat. Eklifiao. That's my good lady. That's messes me there.
The most adoring fan of them all. As the top 3 now getting very, very close. Keza upping the pressure on Cuckoo. Does not want there to be a gap opened between the first 2 positions. I mean, you can see why Eddie seems to be very much under control at the moment. Mammoth has actually lost a position to Matt, so Matt's now gained a position off the start. Mammoth under pressure from Jedlin, so maybe not quite as confident in the car as he was last week.
Mammoth is still 2 positions up from where he started. Bearing in mind that Mammoth had that big accident last week, and whilst his steering wheel decided to update itself mid-race, as Kaiser keeping all the pressure on the back of Cuckoo in the Corvette. You can hear these just scrabbling for traction.
And I might have been a little bit overeager on that Eddie prediction, because the gap now down to half a second again. If he makes even one mistake, that could well cost him 2 positions. The gap behind P3 now about 2 seconds, so behind them it's fairly safe.
Riding on board with Fennec, I was going to say the distinctive Dodge sound. They all have actually quite a distinct noise. You ride on board with any of them, you'll know which one you're riding on board with. As we look at Bulletsan, who's behind Condor. We saw the move a lap ago, but look how the field top to bottom is still only not even 15 seconds apart. Side by side, Kaiser on Cuckoo. Aston versus Corvette. Now the Corvette's going to have the inside for the next couple of corners. That is exceedingly brave considering how slippery the track is, but well defended from Cuckoo.
He even mounted the sausage curb.
He did, and you were remarking about Cuckoo's defensive driving earlier on. Also well driven from Kaiser not to slam into the side of the Corvette, riding on board with the Lemon Aston, steering left to go right. But you saw several times Kaiser will actually get out of the stream. There he looks. Now he could be lining up a move. What he's more likely doing is just being able to see. He's getting out of the spray just to be able to judge his braking a bit better, but so much slipperiness going on. Now these cars don't have traction control. There's an element of traction control in the setup, I think, but that what sounds like traction control is just almost pure wheel spin. And look how defensive Cuckoo is going. He saw the Aston coming, got to the middle of the road. Fennec is not far behind either, so for all the gains that Eddie makes, he builds up that gap, but it does kind of ebb and flow. Cuckoo's had a great exit though from that hairpin, cut that gap down to 7/10. We look at Andrew now, who's down at the 9th, who burnt his. I thought for a second Burn was letting Andrew through, but I think Andrew's actually challenging for the position. Whoa! Deep into turn 6, very, very brave. Burn defending heavily, keeps Andrew at bay.
Yeah, if that was an invitation, it was definitely one full of poison and thorns, as Andrew got his fair share of off-track action there. Let's quickly take another look at the back. I think Condor now once again behind JD, so a lot of shifting of the positions going on in the rear. People fighting very hard up and down the field. The top 3 still as they were.
We look at Condor now. We look at Cuckoo. Wrong animal. Right on the tail of Eddie now. So Eddie's definitely got some defending to do. The Corvette's now starting to really get into his stride. Or Eddie has made a mistake somewhere. Either or. He's got his mirrors completely full of Chevrolet. So we come up into turn 1. So yeah, you can see there the split was 4/10 up for Cuckoo. So he's had a pretty good lap last time around, but he has dragged Kaiser with him. So
you can barely see those rear lights from the Aston.
Despite the fact they're very bright, yeah, you can't see them because the amount of spray going on, lots and lots of slidey waves going on. That is going to be the order of the day. And not even a second separates our top 3. The field just starting to spread out a little bit now, but the top 5 still in the hunt for that top spot.
Oh, but he's gaining, he's gaining. Will he take the inside line? Cuckoo goes defensive, takes the middle of the track. Kaiser deciding to not risk it.
Oh, goodness me, that is some balls to be breaking that late in these conditions. It's not going to pay off for Kaiser this time, but that doesn't really give Eddie any respite whatsoever, as there's still only half a second between him and Cuckoo. Cuckoo's doing a brilliant job in the Corvette.
I mean, could it be that Eddie's seeing what's going on here and is maybe just trying to save some tires and save some fuel? Because we do know, of course, pit strategies vary wildly in these cars, and any bit of fuel advantage that you can get, or just to maybe keep the tires alive for a bit longer, can make a big difference in the middle point of this race.
Could well be. It could well be just be backing off a little bit, letting those behind him fight, rather than trying to run off into the distance. They're not going to be facing any kind of lappery for a long time, if at all, in this race. So, oh, there's a move from trouble on Ricky, inside line coming through Medialine's curve. So the beteethed, you would normally say bewinged, but the teeth encrusted Dodge up into 12th.
Yeah, that's another send into that corner, which again, one of the most understeery ones on this track.
Oh.
It's nice to see some bravery there. Has something happened?
Ricky has hit something very hard. There's a lot of damage on his car. So he's coming into the pits. So there's been a big incident there. Unfortunately, we don't have replays or any some sort, so we don't know what happened. As Cuckoo is
it down the inside,
challenging for the lead, coming up into Einfahrt Parabolica into turn 2. Can't get the traction where he needs it though. Kaiser's right there. Fennick is right there. Matt is also right there. The top 5 all glued together. Oh, this scrap is brilliant. Here comes Kaiser. Great amount of slipstream. Double slipstream. Cuckoo gets on the inside line. Cuts off Kaiser. Kaiser's going to go to the outside line. They're 3 wide. Oh no! Fennick has overshot it and hit the back of Kaiser. Kaiser spun round. And how's that going to translate for the lead? Eddie somehow manages to hold on.
Yeah, I think so. 2 separate incidents there. I do believe Cuckoo may well have forced Eddie off the track, albeit unintentionally. And then, of course, that contact from Fennick straight into the back of Kaiser. It's cost them both multiple positions. Mammoth and Jedlin have slotted in there. Matt's now in P3, the one putting pressure on Cuckoo. So nothing much changing for the top 2 here. It's once again an Aston putting on pressure from P3.
So Cuckoo still has a Lemon Aston in his mirrors. It's now the sister car that he's been facing all race long. Mammoth is about a second and a half back from the battle for P3. There is Kaiser. There is Fennick. Amazing. It doesn't look like there's a lot of damage on Fennick's car. Could be deceptive. We don't know exactly the extent of the damage. I would imagine Kaiser probably, well, he still has his rear wings, so that's quite an important element of the car, especially in these conditions. So he chooses to continue. Does Fennick come in? We will have to see, but Cuckoo under pressure now from Mass as he's sizing up a move on the inside of turn 1. Does not commit to it, but that's dropping them back off of Eddie's tails as Maserati from Chevrolet, from Aston. Again, Matt has a look towards the inside at turn 2, probably partly to see as well. Doesn't commit. It's still Eddie from Cuckoo, from Matt's your top 3.
Yeah, I know this is going to be a very, very interesting fight to watch. We know, once again, Cuckoo, one of the better defenders on the grid. Matt's one of the fastest drivers on the grid. I think most of his handicap comes from mistakes, but when it comes to raw pace, it is very, very hard to beat this man. So he's one that you do not want to have right behind you, especially within overtaking distance, but not quite close enough into the hairpin on this occasion. Kaiser's car, you can see in the camera just behind, fairly undamaged, I think, of course, because that is one of the slowest corners of the track. So if you want to get hit somewhere, it's probably in the hairpin.
Well, good point, well made. As we look at Matt's then, it's fallen a little bit off the back of Cuckoo. Here's Andrew, sizing up a move on Bend. He's challenging for his beloved 8th position, inside line of Medialine's calf. The Maserati! I don't think that contact was intentional. I think the Maserati just lost its tail slightly. Tiny tap on the nose of Andrew. Well driven from both of them. Oh, that's JD. Slightly out of shape, trying to chase Bullet Sand, who's now under 30s. Ricky is back on the road.
Yeah, Bullet Sand just getting an overtake there right before we could get a look at it. But yeah, that was quite the fight between Andrew and Bernd. They've been together for quite some time. We saw Andrew going off track earlier, trying to overtake Baron. This time, I think the positions were reversed in that same corner, and he's managed to make it stick. So Andrew back into his P8 merchant position, and I think Bullet Sand's off the track somewhere.
Oh dear, yes, he's had a problem. Now, has he hit anything? That's down at Mobilanskirf. The car looks like it's in the correct shape. Oh, no, it's not. He's hit the wall. Well, he's gone in backwards, so that's why I didn't spot it originally. So that's a trip to the pits. That does look like quite a whack onto the back of the Corvette. But for another one of the Corvettes, under all the pressure in the world, Cuckoo riding on the nose of Mats, for as much as we can see. Does look like this. I don't know if it's my eyes or the camera, but the spray does look a little lighter. Oh, that's Jedlin! Oh no! That's the white Corvette. He's had a spin on the exit of turn 3. And did he hit the wall? The car, again, looks like it's in the correct shape.
There is a bit of markings on it, but I think he's going to be mostly fine. Might want to fix that on his next pit stop, but I don't think he'll be making an extra one for it.
JD is in. The Anime Aston has come in. We saw...
That looks identical to his teammate's car from a lap ago, so very, very unfortunate. Both Anime cars, Drink and Drive Saxony, having such early pit lane visits only on lap 8 of 32.
So it's going to be a long day for them, but they're not. It's not likely to be the only spins we'll have, as we see JD is now on the move, so less damage for him to contend with than Ricky. But Eddie has still got all the pressure in the world. As Cuckoo's just done a great job. All of our drivers have done a great job of hanging on to their cars. I cannot stress how hard these cars are driving the dry. And in these wet weather conditions, it is absolutely heroic. We haven't had more issues. Oh, Cuckoo's overdone it. He's gone in a little bit too hot on the exit of turn 13. Mats doesn't need another invitation to that. But does
Cuckoo get a cutback? I think that's been a slightly better exit, but just doesn't have the straight line speed, or do they?
I was going to say that was going to be brave going through turn 1 side by side. There's quite a narrow turn to try and do that with, but it looked like Cuckoo either just got out of shape or went too hot into turn 13, which put him out of line for Suit Curve for the final turn. He's not lost a huge amount of time, but now has Mats in between him and Eddie. But Eddie is just like, you guys carry on. I'm just going to carry on leading the way, doing what he needs to do. But having Mats on his tail is not a comfortable position to be in.
Absolutely. So expect some P1 action soon, and of course with Mats on the offensive, that could well open up new doors for Cuckoo to recover P2, because of course when you do go on the offense, you may well end up leaving open a door just behind you, and Cuckoo is very much in a position to take advantage of that as things stand. Mammoth just a bit too far behind. Would normally kind of have a front row seat for this, but with the amount of spray, you really need to be closer to have a good look.
Yeah, see, from that camera angle, the spray's gotten a lot thicker from what I was thinking about earlier on. As we have a look at Jedlin, following his spin down in 12th now, but having all kinds of trouble getting the traction down. So whether there's damage on the car or whether he's getting a bit frustrated, we don't know. We couldn't really see from that particular...
It may well be a bit of both.
Could well be a bit of both, yep. As we're now right on board with Cuckoo, about 7/10 or so off the back of Mats, keeping very much in contention. Eddie's done a brilliant job.
It's always interesting seeing those gaps, especially in the rain, though. I mean, 7/10, it almost sounds big in a certain context, but it's really just 2 car lengths.
It is. In these conditions, it absolutely is. So Eddie's done a fabulous job. Obviously, has started from the pole with a 48.9 was his quality time, the only car into the 48s. But he's absorbed all the pressure he's had. So we now right on board with Jedlin. He's continuing to push trouble for that 11th spot. Oh, he had a good run there, but had to back out of it. There's trouble. Unfortunately, didn't get such a good run out of Suitcurve and had to back off the gas.
Meanwhile, the pressure mounting once again for P1 as Mats has actually swooped around the outside of Eddie. Eddie with a horrible exit coming out of turn 3 and may well drop to 3rd.
Yeah, looks like it. The Cuckoo's got the run on the Maserati, but the Maserati's got the slipstream off of Mats. So Mats hasn't been able to break away too far, and that's 2 positions in 1 corner that Eddie has lost in the Maserati. So he must have had a terrible exit from turns 2 and 3. So we caught up with him just in the exit of turn 3 as Mats blew past on the outside. But Cuckoo back up into second, now chasing the lemon-coloured Aston that's been in his mirrors, or well, he's had a lemon-coloured Aston in his mirrors, not always the same one, but he's now chasing one instead of being chased by one.
Yeah, now it's going to be very much a damage limitation scenario for Eddie. He's got a driver in front of him that he really doesn't want to spend all that much effort into overtaking, because it's going to require some effort if it happens at all. And maybe even worse, if you're really going for glory, is the fact that Mats is in P1, and I'm very much expecting him to drive away with this one. Now, will he make any mistakes and relinquish that position? That remains to be seen.
Absolutely true. Mats is 6th in the championship at the moment, and everybody ahead of him in the closest person I see championship-wise that is closest to him on track is Cuckoo. Cuckoo currently 4th in said championship, as we now ride on board with Ared, who is standing in for Warlord. That's the JPS Maseratis that are close together now in 8th and 9th. Andrew was in there, but he's now up into 7th.
He absolutely is, and could well be putting pressure on Keza. I think Keza never actually recovering from that earlier incident with Fennec, so maybe struggling with some tire issues. You can see Fennec 3 seconds up the road, so clearly not struggling as much as Keza. Quite the turnaround indeed, because we did see Keza, of course, Mats' teammate, pushing for P1 earlier. That may well be a pipe dream at this point in this race.
It could well be a tyre issue. We're a few laps away from half distance in this race, as Cuckoo again in the tyre tracks of the race leader. Eddie not far behind. Eddie had a good exit from the hairpin and an absolute face full of spray. But these three are all being glued together. Mammoth a little bit further back. He's just shy of 2 seconds from... just over 1.5... Yeah, I'll try the whole sentence again. Mammoth is about 1.5 seconds behind Eddie, so he's there or thereabouts. Not close enough to challenge just yet, but staying with the Maserati, getting 2 cars worth of spray straight into his face. He's still he's staying in contention, but does seem to be sliding back a little bit. Although Mats has just had a good exit from Sachs Curve, turn 10. Can he build something with that? We will be seeing pit stop soon, and that could well, as we've seen in the past, really shake the field up.
You can see once again the drivers touching that sausage curb in the final corner. A bit of a risky move, could upset the car. And you can see Eddie putting much more pressure on Cuckoo than we see Cuckoo doing to Mats. That gap now about a second big. Let's take a quick look a bit further back. Have we had a spin here? We have, I think Arid, yep. Right as I say that.
Well spotted. Is that commentator curse because it had already happened? I'm not sure that counts quite.
The thing is, I think I'd selected a different driver thinking they had spun, and then I see someone actually spinning, so it's maybe a commentator's coincidence. I'm not quite sure.
Trademark Martin. Yeah, I don't think that one would count quite for the commentator curse count, as the Maserati has a look on the inside. Oh, that's deep for Cuckoo. Is that going to be a challenge for second? I think Cuckoo just about managed to find enough grip to keep his hand on second, but only just, as the Maserati really pulled alongside. But that is dropping them off the back of Mats now. The Lemon Aston starting to build that lead, exactly as you were saying earlier, Martin. That's what you were expecting him to do. And that's what he's now started to do, as the battle for second still wages on. Mammoth has fallen a little bit further back. I wonder if he's had an incident. And he's now about 3 seconds off the back of Eddie.
Yeah, so we could well end up seeing a fight for P4 between Mammoth and Fennec. That would be something to look forward to. As you can see, I think Eddie now 2 corners in a row, sending it a bit deeper than he intended. So what that tells me is that his tires have probably had their best life by now. We're about a third through this race. I wouldn't be surprised if people do end up pitting for tires once they come in for their mandatory fuel stop.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. The limited running I did, the front tires. Oh, Xevious has gone round. So the second of the question mark dodges has had a bit of a spin. That's at Sachs Curve. Back underway, but quite a few positions down.
That is the second lap in a row that I've caught a spin mid-spin. It's like we're getting close to a commentator's curse, but it's not quite manifesting itself. You know, we've been too well behaved tonight. We've got no courage.
Ricky and JD are close together, I just spotted. That's for wooden spoon avoidance following their pit stops. The Saxony teammates.
They will be getting lapped soon as well, only about a corner or two ahead of the opposition in the form of Mats, Cuckoo, and Eddie, though Eddie, with those previous mistakes, no longer putting all that much pressure on the Cuckoo. Now we'll have to wait and see if the loss of slipstream has any sort of effect on his pace.
Indeed, we will have to see. We look at Andrew, the lead of the question mark Dodges. He's chasing Kaiser. Like I say, Kaiser's not really recovered his early pace. He's continued to slip further behind his teammate, which is a great shame, but there could well be damage that we don't know about on the back of the car that's making it even more skitty, because it's clearly what you need in these conditions.
And, I mean, it is, of course, a sizable gap. I don't think he'll be able to recover that on pure pace alone. But if something does happen in the pit stop segment, then that gap could well still melt as snow in front of the sun. Because, I mean, we've seen plenty of times that the pit stops are a bit unpredictable in length. Of course, people choosing to do different things while they're in their pit box. So don't count them out just yet for the fight for the lead, but it is looking a little unlikely.
Andrew was sliding all the way from between 13 and 14, turning left to keep the slide for a right-hand turn. Looked very dramatic from the onboard shot, but that's what most drivers will have to do, just to kind of keep a bit of momentum through those two corners. As we now don't ride on board with Fennec. He's been looking at the back of Mammoth for a while now, but still is about 1.1 seconds behind the Star Wars Aston. He's going to have to get closer than that if he wants to challenge for fourth.
Just quickly checking Condor for damage. He was in a yellow a moment ago and was going quite slowly, but I think he's recovered. But yeah, I mean, for all the Keza fans out there who may be outraged at the contact that led to him being down into P6, Fennec likely will get a penalty for that if that incident is brought to the stewards. Of course, those things do have to be manually reported by the drivers. The only ones that automatically go to the stewards are the safety car incidents. So if you do feel like you have been wronged, make sure to bring the evidence to the stewards, and they will make sure that, if not justice, at least a bit of punishment is dealt to someone.
Indeed true. As we continue to look at the Fennec versus Mammoth battle for fourth position, the Star Wars Aston Martin still maintaining around about a second's gap to the sandy coloured Dodge. Fennec doing what he can. He's slowly eating into that gap between himself and Mammoth. It's within a few laps. Never mind. We have a pit stop caller, and Mammoth has decided to bring his car in as we are at Fuzzy's just before the halfway stage. Wouldn't be surprised if this triggers a bit of a flurry of activity in the pit lane.
Absolutely, we'll have to wait and see where he comes out pitting from around about P4, P5. You can see the pit crew doing their thing, although it looks like they're refueling the wing instead of the actual car.
Yeah, well, yes, the different design perhaps. I'm fairly sure that's not where the fuel tank is. But it's on that angle. It actually looks like he's refueling a part of the pit lane structure. Each to their own.
See what the top three are currently up to. The gaps, I mean, they are growing, but it's nothing extreme. Everyone very, very consistent at the stage in the race. We're at the halfway point now. No retirees just yet. We have had some people come in for crash damage, but nothing quite enough to bring out a safety car. It's all in all been a lot more calm than I think we were expecting.
Yes, very much so. But still some way to go. Halfway done, halfway to go. As we look at so Mammoth back on the road in 13th position. Very much no man's land for him at the moment. But once the pit stops are shaken up, we'll see who's decided to do what as far as tyres and fuel are concerned. And
interestingly, got a different pit exit camera than I got last time, so I guess it just gives you bad angles for the for practice and not for the race in this case.
Nothing would surprise me in AMS2, if I'm entirely honest. Eddie, our pole sitter, our former race leader, Now,
Yeah, that gap is now about 4 seconds to the car behind and almost the same to the car in front. So at this rate, I think Fennec has a better shot at P3 than Eddie does at P2, but the pit stops are coming very, very soon, so you really can't speak too soon. As I said, now Keza coming into the box, the second car to pit for strategy.
it looked like the fuel man was deciding where he was going to put the fuel nozzle, and he has put it in the middle of nowhere on my screen. Ben is also in the JPS coloured Maserati, and yep, they are refueling in midair. Well, fair enough.
So refueling telepathically, it must be more environmentally friendly.
Well, it's more believable than trying to refuel the rear wing. Let's be honest. So then, as I thought, we were getting some more pit stops in. It looked like this Maserati was a bit slow coming out of the hairpin there, but I think that's just the moment that we happened to catch him.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that might have been a spin there, but the gap is exactly the same. So crisis averted. Eddie is not dying.
No, indeed. Our leaders, Mats is just catching the back of JD, who had that early pit stop with the accident damage. Out onto the road comes Kaiser in 11th place, so he's just in front of Mammoth now. So a comparatively shorter stop for Kaiser, which I was a bit surprised at considering he's had a boot up the tail. So Mammoth perhaps either taking on more fuel or having a change of tyres. Kaiser may well have opted to keep the tyres he started with.
You can now see Kaiser's teammate Mats leading this race, about to pass the first lapped car in the form of JD. Will he let him through before turn 1? I don't quite think so. You can see blue flags being waved, or at least flashed on the signs.
And by design or by accident, he's gone off the road, but he's booted it and gone back on the road again. Cuckoo was in from second place.
Yeah, so that's going to be one to look out for. Fennec coming in as well, so I think the most interesting gap then will be Eddie once he makes his stop, although with Keza having gained time compared to Mammoth in the pits, that could well mean that Keza's involved with Cuckoo and Fennec. That's going to be very, very interesting.
Yes, we will see where they come out, not just in relation to each other, but also in relation to Matt and Eddie when they do their stops. One pristine Aston versus one reshaped one. Oh, again, they still look very uncomfortable on the brakes. I think that is JD possibly going deep, but maybe exaggerating his line to let Mats through. Either way, that puts JD a lap down, and Mats continues on his merry way. His teammate just coming through Sud Curve as we've got another couple of cars in the pits. That's Arid and Condor in. Out comes Cuckoo. Is he going to come out?
To select Keza.
He's going to come out ahead of Kaiser. So Kaiser's had a really good run in the pits. I wonder if I bet you Kaiser didn't change his tyres. And everybody else has.
That is very, very possible, but what I'm very concerned about here is how far behind Fennec has come out, because remember Fennec was not all that far from that lead fight, and is now, one, off the track, and two, quite far behind Keza and Mammoth.
He's got cold tyres, that's why he skated off the road initially. So, new tyres on the Dodge for Fennec, so he continues along his merry way. So, our race leader is in. So as is Condor. We can see Condor further at the pit lane. As Mats now brings in the race leading car, and Eddie retakes his earlier required lead. That's someone else in the pits just to the back of the shot. Couldn't quite see.
Condor still in there apparently. Oh, Andrew now rejoining. Well, rejoining the pit lane, I should say.
Yeah, that was who I saw going into the pit lane at the back of the shot. So from third, Andrew.
It looks like they're holding him at gunpoint.
That's what the fuel nozzle is. It's disguised firearms. And Jedlin has also brought the white Chevrolet in, along with Trouble. He's brought the green Dodge in. So Xevious goes up into second position now.
A fairly anonymous race from Xavier so far. It must be said he's very much stayed under the radar, perhaps trying to avoid commentators' curses, though. We still haven't doled out any, and we are now over the halfway point in this race.
Was he subject to any last week?
I'll quickly check that for you.
Whilst we look at Cuckoo, who's gone back up into third. He's got Kaiser still in striking distance behind. Just saw him at the top of the shot. So there is only about 1.3 or so between Cuckoo and Kaiser.
Xevious remains uncursed so far this season.
Oh, the season's long. We'll have time. There's Ricky.
Yeah, I think Arid recovering from a recent pit stop may well be on slightly cold tires. We know Ricky's been on track for quite a while, pitting for damage earlier. Will have to pit again, of course, so this is not really a fight for position, but it is still some nice action for the fans. And here's some more of it. Your net race leader, Matt's fighting it out with Jedlin.
Whoa! Has he had a spin?
Oh.
He's had a.
Is he out of fuel? Is my question. He's going really, really slowly.
I think he's spun because Andrew just flew past him like he was stationary. I mean, if he has run out of fuel, then he needs to be having a big old.
Oh
no! What has?
Is that another race that Mats could have won on merit that may well be jeopardized by a mistake?
Right?
Or was it
a
game bug? It could be that as well.
Well, I wonder if he's damaged. Look at he can't keep it straight. That's a wounded car, I think. Yeah, that car's wounded. He's hit something or someone's hit him. As Eddie is in the pits, he can't turn it. That's a very wounded car.
It's the most pristine looking wounded car I've ever seen. I mean,
very
I
true.
What is it? That is so odd, and he's about to get overtaken by trouble now. So whatever's happened to Matt, it's pushed him outside the top 10, and that may well have some very serious championship implications on him, as one of his main rivals and his teammate, of course, Kay, is up in 4th position at the moment. Definitely one of the hopefuls for this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. So, never thought I would see live AMS2 racing. This is awesome. Well, welcome along. Great name there. I Punch Demons. I like that. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying the show thus far, sir. As we ride on board with, or briefly, we're riding on board with Cuckoo's. Arid is now having to go at Bullet Sound, or what it did look like he was. Yes, there's Bullet Sound. We just saw the inside of the shot. Is Bullet Sound coming into the pits? Yes, he is. So, he had an argument with something earlier on. He went backwards into the wall earlier. As Ricky, Ricky's coming in again. Yes, you said earlier that Ricky would have to come into the pits again. Because he pitted very early for damage on lap 2 or 3. So Ricky and JD is in, so both of the anime Astons are in.
And the other Aston in the form of Matt's in as well. Now, will he get any... I mean, we'll see if they try and put any fuel in. He's missed his pit box, actually.
Oh dear. Well, the fuel man on our screen is doing nothing.
So I assume that is then just purely a damaged pit stop. So very unfortunate. Hopefully we'll find out later what exactly happened, maybe from his teammate, because of course Mats does not tend to do interviews. His teammate very, very close to Cooker now. The fight for P2 very much alive. And as you can see, I mean, I said it earlier, maybe this is a commentator's blessing, but Keza is now again involved in the fight for the lead. Xevious not the net race leader coming into the pits now.
Yeah, absolutely true. So Xevious is in. So Eddie's going to resume the lead. He's going to have Cuckoo on his tail again. And now Kaiser, who was good 8 or 9 seconds behind the leader before the pit stops happened, is now right up in there as we look at Andrew on the back of Jedlin. So he's actually trying to battle to get out of his customary 8th position, is Andrew. We've seen Jedlin have now he is out of it because they've just gone past Xevious, as that's a bit too wide coming through turn 1 for Andrew. We saw Jedlin have a spin earlier on, and at the top of the shot we can see Fennec as well.
Yeah, I mean, Fennec currently 8 seconds behind Mammoth, more than 10 behind Keza, so it's very much a reversal of fortunes there. We saw Keza struggling after the initial contact, and Fennec was thriving in that sharp end of the field fight, and now it's very much opposite that. Now Andrew sending it down the inside of the hairpin. No, just having a look.
I think he was weighing up the options. Oh, he's forced Jedlin into the mistake. As that's an easy... Oh, Jedlin a bit eager with the right foot there. And almost sent it around. And right behind us, the second question mark dodge of Xevious with Bird right behind him.
See, I think Andrew going into that corner very much knew that Jedlin was not going to make it, but of course we don't quite know the perfect breaking point from these outside cameras, so it was a bit more of a surprise for us. But yeah, good overtake by Andrew up into 6th and now only 3 seconds behind Fennec.
It's around about 150 meters for the hairpin, but the thing is, we don't know how old these guys' tires are because not everybody has changed their tires. So yeah, it could be that Andrew was trying to force the mistake, but equally may not have necessarily expected it. As we now look at Bernd and Xevious very close together. Is that the two? No, that's a Viper and a Maserati that are arguing. Difficult to tell through the spray. It's one of the questions.
They're both black.
They are both black. Yeah, that is the question mark Dodge of Xevious with Bernd in the JPS coloured Maserati right behind. Trouble's a bit further back. It's about 15 seconds behind these two, so won't get involved in the green Dodge. Oh, that's deep. That's deep for Bernd.
I think that DRS sign might not have made it. Good thing the camera cut before we could see its painful demise.
But Eddie is really starting to charge on now as Kaiser and Cuckoo are very much involved in that battle for second position. The defensive prowess of Cuckoo yet again being put to the test has been pretty much tested all race long. It was originally against Kaiser, then it became against Matt, who is back on the road but on 13th position, a minute and a half behind the lead he once occupied. So huge disappointment for Matt there.
Yeah, the only thing that can save his race now would be an absolutely massive safety car, but we're heading into the final 10 laps of this race now, so the safety car window won't be open for all that much longer, and I mean, the field is relatively spread out. I think the best chance for a safety car is if there's some sort of incident with lap traffic.
Sadly so. Says again, Kaiser just... If he didn't change his tyres, as I suspect he didn't, he's doing a great job of hanging on to what on earth rubber is left on them. As you can see...
Let's just take a look at that wheel movement. You can see he's taking the corner a lot more tightly than Cuckoo, which I think is better for the tires. So Cuckoo may be trying to utilize a bit more fresh rubber, but it doesn't seem to be paying off out of the final corner.
Whoa, a lot of sudden snap there from the Aston with Rheinland on board with, again, gets out of the spray to see where the braking boards are. Gets right the way down into first gear, then just feathers the throttle through second, now into third. Now you can plant the throttle, and then in the slipstream, in the spray. You don't want the slipstream here, but he's going to get the momentum anyway through the Parabolica. That's going to give him the inside line for the hairpin. This should be job done unless it all goes wrong suddenly. No, Cuckoo knows that one was done. Tries to cut back underneath the Aston. Oh, bit of a bump there. Not quite enough for him. That should be second now to Kaiser.
I mean, that is one defensive technique, is to try and goad your opponent into sending it down the inside, potentially oversending it, and then getting them back with the switchback. Did not work on Kaiser, however. I do think I have to disagree with you what you said about that previous straight, though, because Kaiser has shown it multiple times how he rockets past people on that straight with that slipstream. I'm sure his setup helping a little bit as well, but that is definitely one part of the track where it can absolutely help slingshot you into the braking zone for that hairpin.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Well observed. I guess it depends on how brave you are on the brakes, which in these conditions is terrifying.
That is true.
Yeah, fair point, well made. As we now look at Bert, who's still chasing the back of Xevious' Viper, as they're about 5 seconds behind Jedlin, and I think Arid may have closed that gap a little bit. It wasn't. Oh, so Arid and Trouble have swapped round from the last time that we saw this particular back, as it was Trouble that was in that 10th position. Whoa, as we saw a big snap of oversteer from Arid. And still getting a lot of snaps of oversteer.
Yeah, it's conditions, of course, still pretty darn bad. As you can see, Trouble actually starting to set some personal best sectors. But yeah, it must be said, Aaron doing quite a good job on his sub-roll tonight. Yeah, absolutely true. Video Gamer Guy, good to see you, sir, on another one of my willing victims from my video series. Well, this looks like my kind of weather. Well, you are a Brit, sir, so yes, you do know how the weather goes. Oh, that's Bernd and Xevious almost side by side. Where was that? That was just coming out of turn one. Yes. Goodness me, the Maserati looks very uncomfortable.
under braking coming into turn 2.
Yeah, I think if Bernd has an interview with us tonight, he'll have plenty to talk about because he's having the opposite of a lonely race.
Very, very much so. And now that slipstream is going to go the way of the Maserati. Can he make advantage of it? He actually gets out of the slipstream a bit early. And yeah, see, it looks like my earlier observation that the Maserati takes a bit more effort to slow down was proven true there, because it looked like he broke quite a bit before the 150 board, leading into the chicane, into the hairpin, but then it is exceedingly wet, so it could be much more wet than when I was doing my testing earlier on.
Yeah, that's one thing is for sure. It is incredibly tricky. Even if you do see that space open on the inside, it's not always worth going for it. And that's one thing I actually meant to point out in one of the earlier Keza battles, is that there were some moments there where the inside was available, and I think he chose not to go for it, because if he had, that would have actually opened up a gap between where they were and where the leader was. So by going for a bit of a safer move, you end up staying much closer to the leader, and of course having a better chance at winning the race. But I think Keza not quite catching Eddie at this stage, and Cuckoo putting pressure on him again for that second place.
I was just watching the Dodge coming through Sachs curve and then through 11, 12, and now the Suit curve. It does look, it's very nip and tuck between the Dodge and the Maserati through that section, as Bernd is still trying to find his way past. Yeah, I'm stunned that, bearing in mind that Eddie was, he maintained a narrow lead in the first part of the race, and then Matt kind of ran off into the distance for a while, and now it's Eddie that is really into his stride in the latter half of the race. Oh, we have a yellow.
We have Jedlin off the track once again.
Oh no, the white Corvette is doing some lawn mowing once again. So traction failing the white Corvette at the wrong moment. Is this an opportunity for Bernd? He's getting close. Thinks about it. Oh, he had a bit of a stutter there. Has he gone a bit too deep into the hairpin? I think he may have done. He didn't get the apex that's going to allow Xevious to try and cut underneath him, but the Dodge couldn't get the traction when he needed it, so that is 7th for Bernd.
Yeah, so not quite parked on the apex. Xevious had an opportunity to try and get past again, but in that sort of situation, you really need to be doing everything perfectly, and in a Dodge that is far from an easy task. So good overtake by Bernd. Next car up the road is Andrew, but he's quite far away. I think Andrew will be fighting Fennec, if anyone. That gap about 2 to 3 seconds as things stand. Let's take another look at our top 3. Eddie's still leading this race by 5 seconds. Only about a second and a half separating second and third place.
Definitely fatigue will be taking its toll now, because these things are hard enough to drive, but it takes so much concentration and effort to drive these things in the wet. And they have been going for 26 laps now, bearing in mind that's just the race. They had qualifying beforehand as well as practice before, so look at the fastest laps. Oh, look at that, just 38 thousandths between Eddie and Keza for fastest laps. Even less than that, no, sorry, slightly more than that for Cuckoo, a couple of tenths more. 49.2 actually from Mammoth, so he's got the fastest lap of the... No, Fennec is another 49.2. What about Mats? He was...
Yeah, Mats is the painful one. He's got a 48.4, but he's down in 13th position, so...
whatever incident befell Mats, it's definitely a case of what might have been. As we look at Cuckoo, who's fallen a little bit off the back of Keza, who's now starting to pick up his pace and erode into the gap between himself and Eddie. But is it a little bit too late? 4.6 or so to gain, but only about 7 laps to do it.
Meanwhile, let's see if the wooden spoon... Oh, yeah, that's actually the most exciting fight at the moment. We have JD putting pressure on Bulletsan.
The damaged Anime Aston up against the Falcon Corvettes. Oh, Bulletsan getting all kinds of shaky coming through turn 7.
Oh, P12 off the track. We have Condor in the barrier.
Oh, no. Condor's had a fairly, by our reckoning, a bit of an unremarkable race. Oh, dear. That's a very heavily damaged car. A little bit too much through turn 1. I think he's actually trying to stay out of Matt's way. But that car didn't look like he wanted to stay straight. Very much the same as what...
Oh, we have another incident. Cuckoo's been off in the first corner.
Oh, no. And he's just past the pit lane entry as well. So if he has got damage on the car, he's got a long way to go before he can get it seen to, although he does look like he's got a bit of pace about him, so he might have not hit anything, but that has dropped him out of the podium where he's been all race long, and that's gifted third to Mammoth.
Yeah, I think Cuckoo's car seeming quite all right. Usually when people spin in the final corner, it ends up just being a little bit embarrassing and frustrating. I think that car managing to stay out of the wall. Let's take a quick look at the chase cam to be sure. Yeah, that car looking mighty fine indeed, but 5 seconds down on Mammoth, who's now found himself in an unlikely podium position.
Well, yes, somewhat of a turnaround from last week. It was Kaiser he was fighting with last time out, Yakari Pagua, but sadly the driver issues with the steering wheel put pay to that. Fennec is now very close to the back of Cuckoo, so we'll see if the sandy coloured Dodge is going to close in on the Corvette of Cuckoo. As we look at Bullet Sand, that's a bit deep going into the hairpin. He's still got JD right on his case, as they've got more. That's Bed coming up behind them that's causing the blue flags that we just saw. Yeah, wooden spoon avoidance is a very hot battle going on. Oh, goodness me, JD. Oh, and then a big snap, lots of snaps of oversteer from Bullet Sand. Oh, is he going to be brave along the outside of turn 8? It's very brave to try and do it. He doesn't look it. Oh, is he going to go for the inside of the Mobiline's curve? No, he doesn't commit to that one. But has he forced the mistake on the Corvette? Oh, but nowhere to use the momentum. He had to get out of it, otherwise he was going to further rearrange the tail of the Corvette. Oh,
yeah, we're so close you can see every individual crack in the glass of that tail light.
Very, very true. Wow.
And, I mean, judging by how carefully JD is driving at the moment, you can hear it in the engine sound. I don't think that damage at the back of Bullet Sand was caused by this Aston that we're currently on board with.
No, I'm fairly sure Bullet Sand, we saw him recovering from a spin some time ago, and that's when we first spotted the damage. So, a sudden snap of from JD there. He kept out of the wall, very well held, as Ben comes past him to put a lap on him. That's most likely what's caught everybody out that's had an incident there. It's exactly that, just pushing a tiny bit too hard through North Curve and tapping a wheel out of bounds, and round she goes. We ride on board with Matt.
First contact with human civilization in quite some time.
All the left hand to keep the car under control in the spray of the Maserati. He's pushing as hard as he dare through the twisty bits, but yeah, I think there's a fair amount of frustration going on in that cockpit, and probably a few words we wouldn't be able to broadcast.
Yeah, but I think he should really try and savor this battle, because the next car up on the field is 20 seconds ahead, so this may well be the last fight he has this race, as there's about 4 or 5 laps left to go. Now we're on lap 28 of 32.
And Condor's defending. Oops, tiny touch there. Pretty inconsequential between the two. And Condor is defending as is his right. He is perfectly entitled to it. That is for position. Mats gets the inside line coming up into Einfacht Parabolica. And that should be fairly straightforward for the Aston. Can Condor do anything about it? It doesn't look like he can. Fennec is now really closing in on the back of Cuckoo.
Yeah, and I just want to mention as well, I mean, just the straight line speed that Mats' car had there. He had a bit of a hiccup in turn 1 because of the contact, but somehow still was faster on the straight immediately after. So that just goes to show how fine-tuned that car is. Mats very much a master of both driving and setup work.
Very, very true, of which I am good at neither. It's safer for all concerned in being the commentary. Look at this. Fennec challenging for 4th. So Cuckoo, we saw, have that big spin. Oh, that's a spin for Arid. Coming through Sachs Curve, where at the moment all eyes on this battle for 4th position. Cuckoo defends the inside line, coming up towards the hairpin. Can Fennec do anything about it? I think he's going to have to concede for now. But the Corvette's pretty big anyway. But when you're that close to it, that tail looks very, very wide. But Cuckoo holds on to 4th.
Meanwhile, Xavier is starting to approach Jedlin for 8th as well. Keep your eyes on that battle. But yeah, no, it's quite interesting to see Fennec's late resurgence here. I'm not sure if you could see in the cockpit, but he has a lot of fuel on board in this car for just 3 more laps. So I think that might actually be the reason why his pit stop took so long.
And we have a Nismo in chat. Hello, good sir. Greetings from Egypt. Managed to find Wi-Fi so we can at least watch a bit of the race. You have watch the rest of it back. It is a fantastic race that we have had. Last week's race at Yakari Pagawa was equally as good. As we ride on board with Fennec chasing Cuckoo. That is a back marker. That's JD, I think. Yes, that is JD that we're closing in on. Coming through to complete.
No, that's his team.
Ricky. Oh, wrong anime Aston. Beg your pardon. So there's JD. Yes, JD's a bit more reshaped.
Still not too far away from the wooden spoon fight. Only about a second separating the two. Meanwhile, on lap 30 now of 32, Eddie, still your race leader, has managed to keep Keza at bay for the last few laps. That gap barely coming down whatsoever. Mammoth consistently in third since all of that other stuff went down with those other drivers. The fight for P4, though, is where it's at. Very,
very much so. And with, as a face full of Ricky as well, that makes this battle quite interesting. As, again, that is Cuckoo defending that inside line, forcing Fennec to try an outside maneuver up into the hairpin. He's braked very late. That's ballsy to try and do it, but he's going to be in an absolute flood of water out there. Can't get the traction when he needs it. Cuckoo still hangs on to fourth. 2 and a bit laps to go.
Yeah, that was absolute no man's land on the outside in terms of grip for Fennec. Still plenty of opportunities, though, in these final 2 laps. But again, it is Cuckoo that is defending here. We've seen people slip through a few times this race, but it's by no means been easy.
Definitely not.
And I hope I haven't cursed the leader, because that gap between P1 and 2 has now gone down by over a full second since I last showed them.
I just saw that, yeah. Well, whether that's just a bit of a concertina effect and probably Eddie going, oh, and that's Ricky going off the road. Probably getting out of the way of the battle that is ensuing. Andrew's not actually that far behind, but he's too far behind really to get involved in these two unless they come together. So Andrew may not be able to challenge for 5th position, as the penultimate lap has been started by our leaders. So 2 to go.
Yeah, and I think the potential fight between Jedlin and 8th and Xevious just behind maybe simmering down a bit, that gap now, a healthy 2 seconds again. So if Jedlin can just keep it out on track, then he'll be safe and sound. But I know who isn't safe and sound. That is Cuckoo now. Less than 2 laps to go. Once again going on the defensive. Fennec with a very hungry-looking car that is really wanting to finish at least P4 tonight.
Very, very true. And yet again, Cuckoo's going to have to exercise that defensive driving we've seen all night long. We just saw we saw Ricky in the back of the shot. Oh, that's a big move. There's a big send, I think. Oops, and I think that was a missed braking point. Oh, what a punch in the face from Cuckoo to Fennec there. I think Fennec missed his braking point, couldn't quite get it slowed down, and they just ended up clumsily tripping over each other, trying to get back out of the hairpin. That's actually brought Ricky back close to them, and not a little bit further back is Andrew. You can't quite see him in the camera. He's just behind Ricky. There is Andrew. So yeah, a little bit too far back. He'd love to be involved in the battle ahead of him. With only another lap to go, it doesn't look likely for the question mark dodge, but Fennec is still keeping the pressure on.
Oh, as you say that, though, the curb taking some of that pressure off of Cuckoo. And you can just see the rear, both cars sliding a lot into that Sachs curve. So the tires, I think, screaming at the end of their lives. They're almost home now. But yeah, that was pretty interesting coming into that hairpin. I mean, you could argue that Fennec did overshoot it. I think Cuckoo probably could have gotten a switchback done there, but the car, of course, blocking half the road, and I think if you really want to get a switchback done there, you have to be a little bit slower through that corner yourself, so that's what led to that initial contact, and then the bonus slap in the face was just some comedic effect, I suppose, on it.
Yeah, Nismo's just spotted the Masters in 12. Yes, you will have to watch the race back to find out why. Oh, that's a mistake from Cuckoo. He's gone too deep into turn 2. There's surely an opportunity now for Fennec. He can't get the overlap on the exit of the turn, as there was a slight tap between the two. Cuckoo might be able to defend it, but he's got all the pressure in the world. Riding on board with the Sandy Dodge. Here we go yet again for the final time in this race on the way down to the hairpin. Who's got the biggest brakes? Who's got the biggest cojones really into that braking zone? That's forced the Dodge to the outside line. The Chevrolet gets the tail out to defend that inside line, and the 4th place is still in the hands of Cuckoo, and that's a mistake from Fennick on the exit. That could have sealed the deal for this particular fight.
Yeah, that was a wonderful rotation there in the hairpin. Just didn't quite pan out for Fennick. Again, not easy to overtake Cuckoo, and you can see Andrew just behind. If even one of them has something as big as a half spin, that will be an overtake for Andrew. But the leaders now coming through the final few corners. Eddie has, well, I wouldn't quite say dominated this race, but he's most certainly deserved the win now, navigating the final 2 corners.
And through Sud Curve, your winner for Hockenheim for round number 2 of the season is Eddie in the Maserati. He's happy with it, and so he should be. He takes that one home. Ultimate Kaiser from 3rd to spin to 2nd for the Lemon Aston Martin. Mammoth for retirement last time out and comes home to round out the podium here in round 2. Cuckoo, oh, what might have been, but a fantastic defensive battle to hang on to 4th. And Fennick is chased home by Andrew in the end. Oh, another lap, and Andrew may have been there, but 6th place for Andrew nonetheless. 7th is going to go to the JPS Maserati of Bernd through Sud Curve. He comes, and the 7th place goes to him. Jedlin, well, he's been in and around the 8th position. He's been in it and out of it a few times. But with the spins, that's a pretty good recovery drive for him. Up into 8th place for Jedlin. Xevious in the 2nd question mark Dodge comes home in 9th place. And Arad in the our stand-in for the night in the 2nd JPS Maserati. Over the line he comes. Ricky, Bulletsan and JD have crossed the line. 1 lap down. Trouble comes home in his new liveried Dodge.
Actually ended up not that far ahead of Mats, so Mats, I guess, did still have something to fight for in case something did happen there, but it wasn't to be. As you can see, Trouble not quite pushing the limits through the final corner, enjoying his extra bit of screen time, as Mats now coming through the final corner himself. Condor a little bit further back. And
I think Condor will be the last car to cross the line as Mats, with the traditional sim races finished, chucks his car into the wall. He's not going to need it again for another week at least. And there we go. So, what a race. That was fabulous. So, Eddie comes home in 1st, Kaiser 2nd, Mammoth 3rd, Cuckoo 4th, Fennick in 5th, Andrew 6th, Burn 7th, Jedlin 8th, Xevious 9th, Arad rounds out the top 10, Trouble in 11th, Mats 12th, Condor 13th, Ricky 14th, Billet Sand in 15th, and Gnome rounds out our finishers. All 16 cars have come home.
I'm very glad that that what's on your screen, that what's on my screen is not on your screen at the moment, because if it were, then you might have to put an epilepsy warning on the screen.
Oh, you've got party body going on.
Yep.
Oh, wow. What a race we've had. That was absolutely superb. So I'll bring up the images of how the championship standings were before we came into the round, and also the calendar that shows how the rest of the season will look. So that was round 2 we've just had, and next time out we head stateside to Virginia. So that is going to be, I love Virginia. It's such a brilliant track, and I look forward to that. And then we have our endurance special at Spa-Francorchamps. Who doesn't love a bit of Belgium? Back over to Britain for Silverstone. Very much looking forward to that. And Fontana, a track I'm less familiar with, so looking forward to that in the middle of March. And then to see out the season, we head to South Africa for Kyalami. And that's a brilliant track as well. Very much enjoy that. Do we have anybody wanting to come and have a chat to us? Yeah, oh yeah, we do. We have.
I'm going to go ahead and bring in our race winner for tonight. And wow, that's wait, I think everyone's just hanging out in the ready for interview room instead of the post race hangout now. That's quite interesting, though. I guess they're all ready to get dragged in here. So let's go ahead and start with the winner.
If you do the interviews, I'll be right back.
Hello,
Eddie.
Eddie, and congrats on your win. I mean, it wasn't by a huge margin, so I'm sure you were kept on your toes for most of it.
Yeah. Except the little mistake I made at the beginning, losing 2 positions.
Yeah, we did catch that one live on stream, unfortunately. But tell us what happened there.
Yeah, I was going around the corner in second gear. I was spinning a little bit. The rear tires were spinning a little bit. I changed to third. I was counter steering and it suddenly got grip, so it snapped the other way.
Yeah,
I
these
lost.
cars.
Thankfully, I lost little time, but then the tires were fucked, and changing those on the pit stop was.
Yeah, I was about to say I did have an inkling that you did change your tires because your pace seemed to be a bit more solid in the second stint. Now, of course, you had pressure during both of those. Who made you the most nervous to have behind you tonight?
Definitely like everyone. This Cuckoo was really fast, and I was not going away, so to build a gap because I had to fuel save a lot because my car is kind of thirsty. But in the end, I think the strategy paid off with changing the rear tires.
Yeah, it absolutely did, and I'm just looking here at the standings from last week, Eddie. Last week you were in 12th position with 8 points. Oh, as it suddenly disappeared off my screen.
Oh, were you looking at mine? Yes, I. Sorry, hang on, let me put that back. There we go.
That's all right. So yeah, Eddie, you were outside the top 10 after the last race. I think you're very much inside the top 10 after this one. Has this race given you the confidence to fight for the title?
I mean, I had the confidence even last race because I had the pace, but the inconvenience of running out of fuel.
Yeah. How worried were you about that repeating itself tonight?
I overfueled like for about 2 laps.
All right, that's.
Like 10
I mean,
liters
it's
or
not
so.
that big of a performance deficit, having 2 laps too much fuel. So it's definitely better to be safe than sorry. Now
I
you did
lost
mention
like a little bit of time fueling that.
Yeah. I think most of that time is lost in the pits and not on
Yeah,
track. But,
luckily I had the pace to stay ahead of to
yeah,
build the gap.
yeah, absolutely,
then
and
to manage it.
yeah, you very much did. That was an incredibly consistent 5-second gap there in the second stint. Now, you did tell me earlier that you didn't really get all that much practice in before this race. So, how long did it kind of take you to settle into a somewhat comfortable rhythm where you were confident that you wouldn't lose the car?
I mean, luckily it didn't take much, but I got some help with the setup, and I got it quite right. So
Yeah, I mean,
I
don't think.
most of the effort was the setup.
Yeah. I don't think anyone can deny that you got the setup right tonight, Eddie, and you ended up winning the race. So congrats to you again for that. Definitely
you very
looking
much.
forward to your next rain race because I guess that might be one of your strengths now. And
Yeah, I think most wet now than the car,
yeah,
but was a very tough race.
yeah, of
But it
course.
was fun.
No longer on the controller, so definitely working those muscles.
Yeah, and not like getting mad of the controller.
Yeah, I had that actually. Yeah, very quickly before I let you go for the next interview, I had a case recently where I was racing. Someone crashed into my car. Like we made a little bit of contact, and right at that exact moment, my controller disconnected because the battery lost its connection somehow.
Oof. Yeah, I had
that
that
was
happen a lot.
Yeah, I have to wonder if the force feedback is maybe playing a role
malfunctioning
there.
cable.
Yeah, see, for me, it's just the battery. I mean, I used to have a cable one, and then the rumble inside the controller got loose, so that's why I no longer use that one because that feels very weird to drive with. But
No, I had this problem with my controller where the battery pack couldn't hold the charge. So even if I was cabled, it was turning off because it couldn't.
So would you have to do a mid-race battery switch then?
No, it was like some months ago. So.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say that sounds very much like classic Formula E.
No, but it was it happened during a Souls like. I was playing a Souls like, so it wasn't that pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hope that nothing similar to that happens to you. I mean, of course, we did see something similar happen to Mammoth last time with his wheel software updating mid-race, so definitely make sure you have that updated before every event possible. But yeah, thank you very much for coming
Turned
on, Eddie,
off
unless you want to add
automatic
something.
update.
See, but I think he said that he had that off as well, but I'll have to double check that with him. He's in the interview room, so we'll have to ask him that. But yeah, I'd say enjoy your win and look forward to more
Thank you
clouds.
very much. See you next time.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Next up is going to be our second place driver. Meanwhile, Kodiak, if you have anything written down, you are free to ask it as well.
You fire away, good sir.
Welcome, Keza. How are you doing?
Hello. Yeah, decently, I guess.
Yeah, it was interesting. You were in the mix before the Fennec bump, as it were. And then through whatever you did in the pit lane, you actually managed to re-enter yourself into that P1 fight.
Yeah, I saved like 15 seconds because I only changed the rear tires and not the front.
Ooh, interesting. So, was there any? Were you planning on doing that before the race, or was that something you changed in your strategy after the contact?
I'm not sure you can actually.
Okay.
On the fly, I prepared two strategies, one with full tires and one with only rears, and then I quickly realized that it's only the rear tires that wear a lot and what's slowing you down. So I only changed the rears.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely played a big part in the race. P2 will give you a lot of points over your championship rivals. Speaking of, teammate Matt's down in 12th position. At first, we thought he might have run out of fuel, but it just seemed like his car was very, very broken. Do you know what happened to him?
I have no idea. I think he was in the lead before, and then after the pit stops, I think he probably also changed all four tires and probably.
Oh, was he maybe on slicks? That could be it.
I mean, maybe, but I really don't know. I need to talk to him first.
Yeah, I mean, see, that was the mystery. His car seemed like it was handling horribly, but we couldn't see any visible damage. So that may well be that they accidentally put slicks on his car.
Possibly.
Yeah. New pit crew required.
Fire them all instantly. I mean, we did see most of the pit crews not connecting the fuel nozzle to the car. It seemed like people were being held at gunpoint, but either way, Keza, I think your pit strategy may well be one of the best ones on the grid tonight. I haven't heard anyone else yet say that they were only changing two tires, but who knows, maybe we'll see that in the upcoming interviews.
Yeah, Eddie did it as well.
So our race winner. Well, kind of makes sense, I suppose. You gotta be smart on and off track to win these races with how competitive this field is now. Keza, how much did you enjoy the fact that this was your home race, or does that not really change things for you too much?
I mean, I don't think it changes that much because I'm still in the same old basement racing. But yeah, I don't know. Hockenheim is a good track, to be honest. But yeah, I guess it helps that you really know the track by heart because you needed to, because you couldn't see shit. To be honest, like it took me forever to get past Mia, and yeah, like when you tried to overtake, it was sort of a gamble that you hit the braking marker because you couldn't see them, right?
Uh-huh.
So, like I wouldn't dare to really outbrake Mia because I kind of trusted her to pick the braking point because she could actually see it. So yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, absolutely. Not every inside gap was really an opportunity this race, and we did see some people slightly overestimate that, other people playing it a bit more safe. But you ended up having a bit of a better result in the wet this week than you did in the dry last week. So what would you say? Do you prefer driving these more when it's wet or when it's dry?
To be honest, these cars are insanely challenging to drive in the wet. In general, I would say I enjoy wet races quite a bit. Like historically speaking, I usually have good results in the wet. But yeah, I don't know if I think it's more fun to drive in the dry because you could actually fight. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, I'm so wet. I definitely need to take a shower now because it was so exhausting, and you were always on the edge, basically, because you're just braking a bit too late and the car wants to spin. After the Fennec incident, I also had another spin because I just was so out of the rhythm and my rear tires.
Ah, so that's what put you behind Fennec. Okay.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But for real, like I really enjoy the challenge of the wet driving, but racing wise, it's a lot better in the dry, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw fights that lasted quite a bit longer last week, and of course, no safety cars this time around. The gap's a little bit bigger. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the second interview. You've heard it from the CEO of Moistiness in this server. Both the track, the drivers, and the cars were all very moist tonight, so I think it'll be a bit more dry next time. Thanks for coming on, Keza.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I will have certainly a good time watching the stream back. So yeah, have a good night and thank you for joining.
Have a good one. Let's bring in our final podium finisher, Mammoth. Welcome.
Oh, hello.
Now, my first question for you, because we've heard the same thing from the past two drivers, who obviously are your fellow podium sitters. Are you wet right now?
A bit, yes, a bit, yeah.
So,
from the excitement and enjoyment, definitely.
so not just from the sheer amount of energy that you had to put into wrestling that car around the track.
Yeah, it's also that. It was absolutely, I was absolutely like surprised by the amount of spray, and it's like had no confidence in the car. And it only came like when I was in clean air. Everything before that was pain and suffering and stress.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seemed last week like you had that car absolutely glued to the track. Tonight, it seemed like you were quite quick, but not quite as solid as perhaps before. Now, of course, last week's race ended quite badly because of a software issue. Did you make double sure to have everything updated before the race tonight?
Yeah, I did. I checked everything. I tried everything.
And
I mean, just like last time, I did the same. So, but it just
yeah, see, that's an interesting thing. So someone said, yeah, well, I have automatic updates turned off. Now, did you not have those turned off, or did you have them turned off?
I mean, I use the older software. So I use the older one that is not even updated anymore.
Oh, so you've downgraded since the last race?
No, I had it downgraded before. So it was already an old one, and I didn't update it for the sake of not messing up the profiles and everything.
Well, so what triggered the auto update then?
So I think the wheel wasn't like the USB wasn't properly connecting to the wheel, like within the shaft, and I think it's triggered like a driver failure. So after like taking everything off, putting it back in, I had to like push things and like super tighten everything. And then the driver was corrupted and it still wouldn't properly recognize the wheel, so I had to delete the drivers. And you know how it is in Windows, everything is absolutely hidden, unclear, unmarked, and yeah, so there was a bit of a I think I spent like 5 hours on just troubleshooting and installing, reinstalling, and well, now it works fine. I also use the newer software.
See, if I'm glad that you're talking to me right now and not to like a member of the press, because if I was a member of the press right now, I could very much just write an article out of context where Mammoth blames DNF in last race on driver issue, and you are very much the driver of that car. So
Sure.
no, but that's definitely. I'm glad you managed to figure out what figure out what was causing it, so you can have a much better chance of avoiding it in the future. So definitely hope that the rest of your season is without such issues, and that it'll continue to bring the fight, especially to Keza, because of course I think he seems to be one of your main rivals this season. So very much looking forward to that rivalry. Now, one more question I'll ask you for tonight is which battle did you enjoy the most out there tonight?
I barely enjoyed this race. It was so stressful. I mean, it was nice when I was catching up to Mats, but it wasn't really a battle. I was always like behind because if I was driving too close, I had no confidence in like where I was braking. So, but then when I was like 2 seconds back and catching up to Mats, that felt good because I was like, okay, I have it. If I can see the road, I can do it. But
yeah, I mean that's I think just basic survival instinct there. So it ended up with you on the podium. So I wouldn't say that it failed you. So yeah, congrats
Yeah,
again on
it's
that
okay.
podium position, and I'll see you hopefully again next week.
Thank you very much. Ciao.
Have a good one. I think with the fact that we're getting these interviews done a little bit faster this time, we might be able to get a few more people in here. Let's quickly drag in Cuckoo, our 4th place finisher. We have the whole top in here tonight. It's quite nice. Welcome, Cuckoo. Just off the podium. That was some wild battling out there.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to stop crying for a very long time.
Are you sure it's not just the weather?
No, it's definitely tear. I've already said it, I'm going to say it again. I arguably probably should have won that, and I fucked it up.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh
you
my
did get
God.
quite a bit of screen time. Where would you say was the biggest mistake?
The pit stop, or no, before the race even started when I was making the pit strategy. If you hadn't realised by now, I did that whole race on one set of rear tyres.
Wow. I'm surprised you
yeah.
kept the fight in there for that long.
Yeah, I accidentally fat-fingered the pit strategy to only change the fronts. So I did my pit stop and I got a nice shiny new set of front tyres and the same ones on the rear that I'd started the race on.
Yeah, I mean, that is pretty stinking annoying. I mean, of course, you don't have a whole, like, a real pit crew to take care of those kinds of issues, but considering the fact that you still salvaged 4th despite finishing on fossilized tires, I'd say is still quite a good achievement. And you gave us plenty of entertainment, too. So I do want to ask you about some of those battles. Because you ended up fighting with Mats, Keza, Eddie. Which of those fights was the most challenging, would you say?
Phoenix at the end.
Ooh, okay.
None of the above. right at the end when I was holding Phoenix off for 4th place.
Yeah, I mean, that is when your tires were by far the most shot, so.
Yeah, I'm so annoyed. Especially because Matt's disappeared as well. Like, I had a very realistic chance of winning that, but yeah, it was just try and keep it clean through the front stint. Eventually got past Eddie after Kay's got past both of us, and then was right on. I think it was Matt's. Sorry, I'm getting confused between the Astons. But yeah, first stint was basically faultless. It was perfect, and then it all unwound after the pit stop when I realised what had happened. And it was so annoying because I was still right on Eddie after the pit stop as well. So if I actually had fresh rear tyres, could have fought him, probably would have gotten past him. He wasn't able to pull away from me in the entirety of the first stint, so I had a realistic chance of fighting for the win there, but...
So did you realize that the strategy was mistaken, like as you were getting the tires changed, or was that something you only noticed after a little bit after the pit stop?
I noticed straight off the pit stop when I saw the tyres on the hard and I saw the rears were already half done.
Yeah, that's definitely
very painful because, like I said, I was right on Eddie. I know I could keep up with him at the very least from the first stint, and we were miles out ahead of everyone else. So
I mean,
it was a very realistic chance that could have been a win for me, but
yeah, I mean, as you pointed out, probably your best chance yet. Now, we do have another wet race in this season, if I'm not mistaken. Are you hoping to maybe clinch it there, or do you have better hopes for some of the dry races on the calendar?
I'm not really realistic about chances to win before they happen, to be honest. I knew I would be competitive. My goal was at least a podium here. I ended up being able to fight for more than that because of whatever happened to Mats, but yeah, I was flattered by whatever happened to Mats, and then the whole tyre thing just took it away from me, which is painful. I'm not normally able to fight for a win. It's normally a combination of different things happening that puts me in the position for one, but to have one and then have it thrown away like that.
Yeah, but see that's the I'd say that's.
Oh my god.
I'd say that's the positive thing in this race, is only really one crazy thing happened to one of the front runners, and that was Matt's. The rest, you were fighting them on raw pace, so if you can continue to do that this season, I don't think you're going to need that many crazy things to happen for you to still be in the running for a win. So you've definitely got that to look forward to. Now, how much practice did you put into this race?
No more than I did for last week, but yeah, I normally tend to run quite well in the rain, so I was quite confident heading into it, which is why the podium was my goal, but yeah, unfortunate to have that happen, and extremely painful given the performance that I had. It should have been more. It could have been more, it should have been more. Congratulations to Mammoth for picking up the Blunder's 25th podium, but should have been mine.
Oh yeah, actually, that is in fact your teammate, so that's another little positive there.
Yeah.
Has your teammate offered you any consoling words after tonight's race?
Yeah, just painful mistake to make.
Well, I think a good week's sleep will definitely have you smiling a little bit more for the next race. So sorry to see a chance.
I should be happy because it's still fourth, but I'm deeply unhappy.
No, it's definitely a case of what could have been, but I mean, judging by the fact that you were there on pure pace and not just by crazy safety car incidents, I'd say that that's a very good sign for the future. So thank you for coming on, Cuckoo, and I wish you better luck in the next one.
Yeah, fingers crossed I'll be up there again next week. We'll have to see what happens in the standings after this, because consistency at the very least, but deeply, deeply unsatisfying. I'll have to double check that going forwards, because oh my god.
Yeah, it's I mean, yeah, again, at least it is something that is in fact preventable. So it's not like there's some weird bug in your system that's causing these things out of your control.
I'm just lucky it wasn't worse, really.
Yeah.
Considering where I finished.
Well, we'll be ending that interview there. I hope to interview you in higher spirits for the next one, because I think your driving has definitely warranted it. So have a good one, Cook. We'll quickly bring in Fennec now, and we'll see how much time we have left after that. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and also, Kodiak, I've just now noticed that the entirety of the people that we've actually had in the Ready for Interview, it's just been the entire top 7 of the race.
Nice.
All right, let's quickly drag in Fennec. He finished in 5th position, just behind Cuckoo. Welcome, Fennec. That was pretty close at the end.
Yeah, it was an interesting battle.
And what was even closer was that moment between you and Kaiser. What happened there in the hairpin?
If by closer you mean I hit him, then yeah. I just misjudged the braking slightly. I'm not sure if I necessarily would have overshot the corner, but they just slowed down quicker than I could. And I tapped him slightly.
Yeah,
that
it was
unfortunately in these greasy conditions enough to turn around.
Yeah, I mean, it was 4 cars into the same corner, and both pairs ended up making a bit of contact with each other. So that was, I mean, good entertainment for us to watch. It did affect your race a bit. Do you expect a penalty for that after the race?
I let him stay ahead afterwards, so hopefully not.
Ooh,
or at least
fingers
nothing
crossed.
too serious.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing, so we did notice you at multiple stages in this race. One of those reasons was because your pit stop seemed to last a lot longer than we expected.
We were talking about that. Some people did only change 2 of the tyres, which helped. I did all 4. Then also I overfueled very slightly, and I had.
But by very slightly, do you mean about a third of a tank?
No, 7 litres.
Oh, okay.
And then I also repaired the 1 front aero damage I got from that contact with Kaiser, which took another couple of seconds. So
wait, that took multiple seconds?
Yeah, 2-ish.
Oh my word! I thought that was faster repairing 1 aero damage. Yikes!
I don't know. It wasn't that long. It wasn't that bad. I think it just meant that I probably spent about 3 or 4 seconds extra in the pits compared to other people who changed all 4 tires.
Mm-hmm.
But the main difference was that Mammoth, who was ahead to begin with, gained about 7 because of that, and also putting a bit less fuel in.
Yeah.
And Kaiser only changed the 2 rear tires, so he was much quicker in the pits.
Yeah, we definitely caught some interesting pit strategies tonight. Now, we just interviewed Cuckoo, unfortunately, with a bit of a pit stop mistake, was not able to continue fighting for the win despite some good performances in the first stint. Now, you were in that very same group, Fennec, so how do you feel after all this?
I feel alright. I think it could have gone better, but just through execution, really, I don't think I did anything massively wrong. But
Yeah,
was
it's.
fine.
I mean, you definitely drove well enough, even in the second stint, to bring the fight to Cuckoo in the end. So, which fight would you say that you enjoyed the most? Was it the final fight with Cuckoo, or was it part of the big showdown in the first stint?
I think the big showdown in the start before any of it got broken up was possibly the most fun, even just because there was the most people in it, made it most interesting.
See, I probably would agree with you. Well, I actually do agree with you, but I think some people might just think because there's so much spray in a big showdown with all those cars that they might have enjoyed it a bit less because they just can't see anything.
To a certain extent, that's true, except the spray was so bad anyway that even just getting within a second of Mia at the end wasn't that much different. So,
So yeah,
it
just
made
one
it quite
car is
difficult
enough,
to
yeah.
overtake.
Yeah, that's. I think we'll probably see a bit more overtaking next time around in Virginia. Although I'm not sure if that's going to be due to the fact that it's not going to be raining or the fact that it's just such a mistake-prone track, because it is quite a tricky one, it must be said. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing what you can do next week, Fennec, if you can make that one. And yeah, I'll wish you the best of luck for it.
Thank you. See you next time.
Have a good one. All right, I'm gonna rudely interrupt Andrew. Hello there, Mr. Discord streamer, and now upgraded to P6 merchant.
Hello.
Yeah, your race was definitely not a lonely one either, Andrew. Tell us how you got up to P6.
Well, I started P7. You know, keeping the dream alive. P7, P8. Immediately, almost spanned on the race start. Dropped down to P9. Then I was fighting Burns for a bit, and then a couple of guys died ahead of me, and that was it. I didn't have a place today.
Well, you did end up finishing fairly close to Fennec. Of course, the same car that you were extremely close to last week. Was that a bit of an extra motivator to try and overtake?
Yeah, I was just thinking about when can I get close enough into the hairpin to send a diabolical move on him. But I never managed to get close enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely just so hard to send it in these conditions. No ABS on these cars, of course. If you could add an assist to this car class, which one would it be?
I don't think I would.
That's very, very fair. I mean, some assists slow you down as well, so you don't really want too many of them. But
it's part of the character of the car class, you know. No assists.
True. How were your front tires at the end? We heard a lot of people said the tire wear was all right, but I'm not too sure about lockups. I haven't heard too many people talk about that.
I don't think I had any lockups, but I feel like tire wear actually lost me quite a lot of time, at least. Like, definitely around a second or more per lap from the start of a stint to the end of one.
So did you change tires there in the pits?
Yeah, I changed all of them, which apparently wasn't the right play, because Kaiser only changed the rears, and if anything, he is going faster in his second stint. So
yeah, I believe Eddie did the same. So top two sharing a strategy there, although they probably didn't really share it with each other, but they did have the same one. P6 in a group of 16 cars. That's definitely upper midfield. What highlight position are you aiming for tonight? Well, not tonight, but this season. Do you think there's going to be a race in the future with a lot of safety cars that you'll be able to dodge?
Nice pun.
Unintended, actually. And no curses tonight. I can't believe it.
I'm coping a bit, because I'm coping that the Viper isn't very good. So, with that in mind, hopefully I can get a podium somewhere.
Actually, no, I definitely think that's a possibility. I mean, your pace has been pretty solid. I think you might have to ditch the whole P8 merchant thing, though, in quali if you really want to have the best chance, of course. But no, actually, I will write down a curse for tonight, is because earlier in the evening, I filled in 7 slots for expected curses tonight, and we got none. So I think we just cursed the commentators' curses.
Oh, God. I was hoping Kodiak could tame your over-eagerness when it comes to curses, but if anything, he's egging you on, mate.
No. See, I was kind of considering... I was considering putting Bullet Sand in there because both times we mentioned Kodiak's channel being on his car, he spun in the same corner, or he went wide in the same corner, either way. But we did not include that one, so I am being very impartial in the counting of curses. Thank you very much.
I'm glad to see you can restrain yourself a bit more from usual.
And with that, I will end your interview, Andrew. Hopefully we'll have some more curses by next week. Maybe with Andrew's name on them. But thank you very much for coming on, Andrew. It's always a pleasure to watch you out on track.
Curse Haben Tolka, because wow, Hockenheim is a shit track, isn't it?
I mean, I'd say he's definitely made some worse ones out there, but it's not my favorite. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Anyway, speak to you later.
Have a good one. And now the final interviewee of the evening, Kodiak. I would like you to open with this one, so you have at least one question tonight.
Be my guest, because whilst you're doing that, I'm adjusting what the stream can see. So it's actually quite good that if you do the interview part, so I can do that bit.
All right. Just try and cook one up for the final question of the night. Welcome, Bernd. You finished in 7th place, and you had quite a few fights as well. Glad to see so many people who did not have a boring race.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Welcome. So tell us a bit about your battles. I believe you had quite a few with Andrew and with someone else as well.
Yeah, I had a nice battle with Andrew, like quite early in the race, and was able to fight him off for a couple of laps, I think. Then he got past me with a pretty nice move. There was also some rubbing going on, but that was fine from my perspective.
Yeah, I think we actually caught that.
And later on, I had also a nice battle with Xavius. I felt like I was kinda stuck behind him for a while, because we were like fast in different parts of the track. And thankfully he made a mistake, I think, into turn 1 and 2. So I was pretty close on the exit, and was then able to seal the deal in the hairpin.
Yeah, the hairpin definitely proving to be a popular action spot tonight. Not as chaotic as we might have expected. No safety cars being reported, etc., etc. Now, the wet weather, did you like it?
Yes and no, actually. Like, I'm not really that experienced with wet weather driving in this game. And also, I don't have the best memories for last season regarding the LMDH cars in Austria. So I was struggling quite a lot back then. But with these cars, it's okay. I mean, you have to kind of underdrive it, I think, to a degree. Because like as soon as you approach the limit or go just a little bit over the limit, you're just dead. That is something I had to learn in the hard way during practice.
Well, it's definitely better to learn it during practice than during the race.
For sure. Also, I was really surprised with like my qualifying. So qualifying was like before for me.
Yeah, I do recall that now. That was a very good performance.
Thank you. I was even like on preliminary pole, I think, for like a couple of minutes. But didn't expect to be so far towards the front after quali. And regarding the race, I struggled with my rear tires a lot. Some of the changes I did to the setup for quali didn't work that well for the race. So.
That is pretty unfortunate. Do you think if you had left the setup as it was, that you might have finished 1 or 2 positions higher?
Perhaps. Like I was really struggling with the rear tires as soon as they had like, let's say 6-7 laps on them. And that if you don't have the confidence on the corner exits and stuff, it sucks. You just lose so much time. I was losing like 6/10 exit, turn 2, turn 3 towards the straight.
Well, yeah, that is pretty painful there. That's a very, very important corner, of course. where would you say was the best part for? I guess no. I'll say it this way. What was the hardest sector to overtake in around here, in the wet?
The hardest sector to overtake, probably the last sector, I'd like to think. With like,
Yeah, I mean, we did see quite a few moves going into that kind of understeery first corner of the final sector into the stadium section.
Yeah, like the right-hander, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I think if you want to overtake anywhere else in that sector, you're probably going to be relying on some very painful mistakes from your adversaries. Now, you did mention earlier that you're not the most experienced with Rain in AMS2. Now, are there any other racing sims that you've played that you feel have better Rain physics? And don't say PC2 because we know that's not true.
So not personally, but I think what I saw, LMU has like the edge on AMS2 in that regard. Also, so like a YouTube video earlier where someone tested like the braking performance in the wet between like the rubber line and the non-rubber line, and it was virtually completely the same. So
Interesting.
there isn't so much of a pronounced impact in AMS2 regarding the two lines as there is like in LMU. So
that is actually very interesting because I feel like in the dry sometimes the racing line is a bit OP compared to going offline. So the fact that that's not the case in the rain is very, very good to know, really.
Yeah, I mean it's. I think if like Racer would make it a little bit more like in LMU, it would probably be more realistic, I suppose, depending on the track conditions. So I wouldn't complain about that. And that would also make it probably a little bit more challenging or more, driver skill dependent as it already is. Since there are like multiple lines and depending on the rubber on the track, the lines might change. So
yeah,
might be quite dynamic.
I very much appreciate that insight, Barrett, and I'll congratulate you again on your solid result. Those are good points for the championship, and I'll go ahead and hand over the mic to Kodiak, who's just burning to ask you one single question.
I absolutely love the livery on the Maserati. Whose idea was that?
That was Case's idea.
I love that JPS Maserati. When I did a bit of testing with these cars earlier tonight, I found the Maserati took quite a bit of slowing down. It was the one I struggled to slow down the most. Was that something was it difficult beast to slow down out there?
I mean, I can see where you're coming from with the Maserati because when I tested the cars before the start of the season, that was also my impression that the Maserati is pretty bad on the brakes. Actually, you can go quite high with the brake pressure and stay quite long on high brake pressure with the Maserati without locking up, since it has like more natural downforce due to the chassis design and everything. And also like what I have heard that is also like due to the I think longer wheelbase compared to some of the other cars, that you do not have like so much feedback under braking compared to some of the other cars in this class.
Awesome stuff.
And that lack of feedback might lead to you thinking like the car doesn't really slow down. There isn't like this bite where you feel that, for example, the rears are close to locking or something. Like there is some movement with the Maserati. It's either you lock the tires and go straight, or you do not feel anything and it just stops.
Well, Bernd, I think if we had a trackside reporter for all the technical stuff, I think you would be very much on our short list. So thank you once again for your very detailed answers, and I wish you plenty of luck next week with no lockups, as per usual in the next one.
Thank you guys for having me. Hope you enjoyed the race, and I'll go and watch the stream then.
Have a good one. Enjoy it.
See you.
Good night.
Thank you very much, Ben. And that is all of our drivers that came forward for interview. And that is going to wrap it up for this evening. Thank you very much to those of you that have been with us either live or post-event. We very much enjoy your company. Thank you very much, Martin, for joining me in the box. You keep me on the straight and narrow. It's a difficult job, but you weather it well.
Thank you very much, and as always, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much to our drivers for putting on a superb show. That was so much fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that. As you can see on stream, we are heading to Virginia. We head stateside for round number 3. Oh, a very different beast again. We head to a very twisty circuit. That is going to be a lot of fun. We hope you will enjoy. We hope you will join us for that race as well. Until next time, thank you very much, and good night.
Good night, everyone.